Let's remove the carburetors on a CX500. Welcome to Urban Monk TV. You can either take the tank off first and get it partially off of the frame to disconnect these hoses like that vacuum line to that diaphragm or the fuel line there. My take on it is you're less likely to damage the paint on your tank if you're fiddling around with less of those things. With the tank kind of hanging precariously somehow. So get what you can off first. Dripping a little gas. Okay. Pretty simple 12mm. And again, 12mm. And the same on the other side. This next step is really critical. Put this thing somewhere safe. Go look at the parts diagram for this bike and many other vintage bikes, and look at all of the items that you can't get anymore. You'll find this on it, so don't damage this. So if you look at the service manual and if you look at carburetor removal, the service manual says to take this wire strap off of the frame, but I cannot for the life of me see why that is necessary other than this one little vacuum line to the vacuum diaphragm on the fuel petcock runs through it, but that's not connected to the carburetor bank in any way, shape, or form. So I say skip that step for now, but hey. Behind these vacuum lines and the fuel line is this choke cable hold down. Get that loosened up. Get a JIS screwdriver. This is not Phillips. Now, this is a breather hose for the crankcase, and it runs into a T back here behind this bracket and behind this coil wire, and then down through the middle of the carb bank. So when you get your carbs off, you're still not going to be able to pull them out of the bike until you disconnect that breather hose. So let's do that now. Pretty tough spot to get a good camera angle on, but I can get a needle nose pliers into the clamp, and then I can reach in with my hand and pop that off. Come on. There we go. And it is off. And with it disconnected up top here, then you can just pull that whole breather hose down through the middle of the carbs if you don't get the hose clamp hooked on things. And just pull that out and out of the way. In fact, I may just remove it. Let's just take it out. Next, we got two clamps on either side of the carburetor, intake and then the intake, I call it a manifold, into the engine. So loosen those both up. This one has this engine guard in the way. I'll see, I might have to get creative with that. Maybe the guard's got to come off. I'm pulling the engine anyway, so I will. But loosen this up and this up on both sides of the carburetor and both sides of the motorcycle. Two carbs. Next, we want to get these out of here on both sides, what I call the intake manifold, and it's an 8mm. You'll find a ratcheting. You can use, I don't want to strip that out. So this is 12 point. Because that's so tight, I'm going to go get a 6 point to take it, to at least crack it loose. Then it's nice to just have a ratcheting function to get it out of there, but give me a second.
If you like motorcycles, custom builds, or just like a good story about a man's 3-year effort to build a tribute to his childhood teacher, get a copy of Creating Mr. Corton. In it, you'll learn how this man changed this man for the better. How this man took this and built this. How these guys became lifelong friends and enthusiasts of motorcycling and craftsmanship. And how the name Urban Monk originated. It's available from Amazon anywhere in the world that Amazon ships, in both paperback and ebook, or you can purchase through a link found on urbanmonktv.com. Get your copy of Creating Mr. Corton today.
So again, a 6 point socket is going to give me a better grab on there, but now my ratchet won't fit. I have a solution to that too. With this small little breaker bar, now I can get onto that bolt, come on, straight and firmly. And all I'm trying to do is break it loose here. There. Now it's loose. Let me do the bottom. Why do I go through so much trouble to have the exact right tool? You know, I don't want to be at an angle like this. I don't want to have a 12 point because I don't want to strip off the head of these bolts, which are pretty unique. Not entirely, but if I want to buy the exact Honda bolt with that flange head on it, I'm going to spend like $3, $4, maybe $5 a bolt. Or I can just take care of it and do it correctly the first time. And now that they're loose, whoop, wrong way, I can use the 12 point to make speedy work. Okay, they're out. Now repeat on the other side. Okay, it's going to be hard for me to keep the lighting good on this while I work on it, but the next step with these loose, I had an engine guard here that I removed. I'm not going to show that because not everybody's going to have the engine guard. So normally you'd see an engine mount bolt right here, and you know, I took it out because I took the engine guards out so I could have access to this. But with this loose and these screws out, I can now manipulate this whole thing. Whoa, what'd I drop? And I can rotate this like that, and then I'm going to come out this way. And it helps to pry it loose a little bit off that lip. Very hard rubber, but just muscle it out. There you go. And that's it. Repeat on the other side. So with both of the intake manifolds off now, turn the carburetors down and wiggle them loose from the intake side of the air box, and then pull them out toward the left. I take that back. I've been fiddling around in here with a small wrench trying to get in there. I'm going to take this bracket off. I'm ultimately taking the engine out, so But even if you're not doing an engine out, you can just take this bracket. It's not that big a deal. It's easy. Now I have a lot of access to my cables. Okay, there's one off, two off. All right, choke comes right here. You bend the wire back, pop it out. There. So choke cable is loose. And can I get... Careful of this coil wire here. Oh, I still have drain tubes on the bottom of the carbs. Okay, so get these little drain tubes off the bottoms of the carbs. Right at the bottom of the float bowl, there's an overflow nipple here. And it would be easier to do this earlier. I apologize. I meant to do it and forgot. But do it before you start taking intake manifolds and that kind of thing apart. Finesse them out and figure out how to release these throttle cables. I'm down to one. Need pliers. I'll show you what I'm trying to do here. This is why I bought this camera. So this needs to slide down and out. It needs to go from here out here. Hope that makes sense. It's hard for me to shoot this and do it at the same time. There. So I pulled it out the side. Then I can run the cable through the slot and it'll pull out of there. That's one of the trickier designs I've run into for that. But I can see the idea is that's not ever coming off and failing on the road. And with that, I have the carbs out of my CX500. So we will do future videos cleaning these. We will do a future video pulling the engine out because I have to repair the stator on the inside, and we may as well do some other repairs while we're in there, and a general cleanup. This is a restoration, so follow along if you're interested in going deeper on the CX500. And if you like what I'm doing, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you want notifications of when I put up new videos. And check out my book, Creating Mr. Corton, which is the memoir of the build of a GS550 Cafe Racer. It's on the cover, looks like this. And also a memoir of growing up as a motorcyclist in Fargo, North Dakota, and buying one of these when I was 16 years old. It's all in the book. You can get it on urbanmonktv.com or on Amazon. Thanks for watching.